have Dr. Chandrasekhar Biradar with us. Sir, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Swati. Thank you very much, and thanks for the organizer and the inviting me to give a keynote on this. And it seems to be very interesting need of the hour, definitely, no doubt. And happy World Food Day and happy Rural Women Day as well.
Thank you so much, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Chandrasekhar Biradar with us. So, I would like to give a little introduction about our speaker today. So, Mr. Chandrasekhar Biradar is a principal scientist and research team leader in ICARDA, which is International Center for Agricultural Research in Dry Area, CGIAR Research Center. Dr. Biradar is a scientist and research team leader, a son of a farmer with multidisciplinary educational background in forestry, agriculture, genetic engineering, and space application with focus of revitalizing agroecosystem for food, nutritional, ecological security. He published over 200 research articles, received numerous awards, and pioneered biodiversity farming for diet diversity, health, wellness, and planetary health. Sir, it's a wonderful pleasure for all of us to have you here. And Mr. Biradar will be talking about his respective topic, which is organic food for vital nutrition, health, wellness, and sustainable living. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Varsha. Thank you very much. And all the world in this, one of the can you see my slide?
Yes, sir, we can see that.
So let's see the full screen. Can you see my full screen or still only the off screen?
We can see the full screen.
Right, so okay. Thank you so much. And today I'm going to talk about the organic food for the vital nutrition, health and wellness and sustainable living. And we know that the future food outlook, what's heading towards, and why vital food is necessary, and why it's linked to the agroecology, and that links to the resilience and conscious living and planetary health. And myself as a research team leader working on these aspects and how to connect to the lives of people and smallholders and the planetary health. And I think the organic food show, it came on the right time. This is where the world is going towards. And we have a number of the challenges at the given time. We are at the crossroads of the world food systems. We cannot continue our current trajectory, consuming too little or too much, often it's quite wrong foods, and unsustainable cost to natural resources, environment, and the health. So this is where the system is towards the sustainable living that demands the organic movement. And you look into the current food systems and the planetary health, and see, a lot of this food we are growing out of the planetary boundary. That means there's not sustainable at all to the people, to the planet, and the earth system itself. So that we need to grow something within this the 100% boundary line, so that is sustainable. That clearly demands, what the Lancet report, they reported that about the thousands of scientists who work on the huge amount of the research. It's clearly indicated that our diet systems should constitute a lot of the fruits and vegetables, and this very clear evidence is in the recent the COVID. And the first advice coming from the food expert, is we should be eating more fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, and whole grains as much as fresh as possible. But we not discuss on that, but we just discuss only the mask and sanitizer. And in the ancient notions is clearly indicating that health is wealth, which is all linked to the where the health is coming from. So the health is so important to every aspect. And you have a lot of the money and the virtual things we would like to look at reality. But when health is not there, so that basically it's nothing there. So here is the standard definition of the health is always we miss two key things there: wellness and ecology. So the health state of the complete physically, mentally, and socially well-being, that is true, but we have to link into the ecology.
Dr. Biradar,
so why?
Sir, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, Varsha, I can.
Yes, sorry to interrupt you, but there is a little disturbance in your voice and also in your presentation. So I request you to please refresh once, then we can continue.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. And again, how about now? It's
Yes. I can see you now. And I can see the presentation as well.
okay, perfect. So when I put into the full screen mode, I can go that way. If I put the
Yes.
full screen mode, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So how about the voice is okay now?
So voice is little disturbed, but better now. I think it is better now. Yeah, it is better now.
Really? Okay, so I'm not sure that is what's happening because internet connectivity is very good. And did you mute all the people there? Make sure that the speakers like a voice is coming from this end, or also if you mute all the participants, that would be
Sir,
better.
apart from me, everything else is mute, so that's not an issue. Yes,
Okay,
I
so
can hear you
let's see
clearly.
if you hear me clearly now.
No, no, nothing.
Okay, no voice coming in the background. Yeah, because of nothing is our side is I'm alone, so that no disturbance here. I don't know why the third noise is coming in between. It's very clear here. So anyway, so I hope so that it's okay with every audience and
Yes, sir.
they hear very clearly. So they were talking about the health, and when it comes to the health, we need a clean air and water and space and mind and body. But the food is one of the key things, and this is where the rest of the things link to the food systems. And that clearly demand a diversity in the food that link to our gut biome. And gut biome in turns link to our immune systems. And this is very clear evidences in the last several months why the food required is complete change in our diet pattern. And that clearly call for the organic movement and changing diet pattern that links to our sustainable living. So this is where we need to move away from the yield centric. We are focused on only yield rather than looking at the nutrition. So that also looking at the resources, how much input use efficiency we have, how much of the things we put that one. That is where we need to change the system. And secondly, the amount of the water consumed by each meal, it's unsustainable way. And also the amount of the carbon emissions coming from the food you are eating now, the way we grow, we produce too much of the chemicals into that. And that's also the link to a lot of the pollutions and carbon emissions too. I just give an example here. The plant-based diet, the amount of the water consumed in comparison to the animal-based protein. Just look at that. We are basically 1,200 in each the vegetarian plant-based meal compared to the beef or like a mutton or any the non-vegetarian meal. It is nearly 30 times more water consumptions. And our conversion ratio from the grains to the meat is 1:20. It's unsustainable way. So that really focus the change in the entire diet systems. That's what we call it to go back to the basics. What our system, our ancient system of the farming was there. Here mostly the circular economy, and this everything is in the circular loop. And this is where we need to bring the local intelligence and all the modern gadgets and programming systems. How best you can enrich this a biodiverse food system. So I'm talking about the gut biome, and you always telling that we need to have a lot of the fiber. Why we need the fiber? Where the fiber comes from? That is one of the things we need to look at it because of our body has more bacteria than our own cells that require a vital food. And we always tell that even the Mahatma Gandhi used to tell that like what you become eat and what you think and you become. And same thing happens to our mind and body and eat what we eat. So this is really brings us together the gut connections, our gut biomes, our vital food that's good for the people, animals, farmers, and the planet. And we have to bring back all that forgotten the crops, pulses, millets, vegetables, so that we can balance the system. It's not just only about the food, but how the food is grown, how our soil is maintained, because of the most of the nutrition comes into our food and grains. It is depend upon how our soil is. Our healthy soil, it is living soil. It's a lot of the mycelia, fungus, and all that in the soil. That's really the nutrition that adds to the plant. In turn, that plant we eat the produce, so that you will be healthy. You get all those micronutrients. So the soil is the foundations, and the healthy soils and healthy food. And we talk a lot about the being one of these things, and again you forget again back to that. But this is a high time we have to be linked into the building the healthy soil and joy of the growing. Like look into our ancient system of the farming. It is a series of the events. We never thought about its work. It is a series of celebrations. While sowing celebrations, like the harvesting celebrations, we have the festival linked to the moment and every month. And this joy of the growing should come from. And when I look into the food systems itself, when I trialed in my backyard garden, the 8 square feet garden can produce so much of the food to feed entire family. And I thought about why one small system, the multi-layer farming, so much diversity, and without interventions of the chemicals, that can produce so much of the food. And not just the food, it's the nutrition. When you interact a lot of the plants in the symbiotic relations, the nutrition density is so high. For example, take a carrots. A lot of research showing that the carrot we eat now in the conventional system, and as compared to our traditional organic biodynamic the system of the carrots, we need to eat nearly 12 carrots to benefit the what used in the old the organic carrots. That means the nutrition density is so less in that. Same thing like apple a day, it's not anymore true, because of this too much of the chemicals and aggressive farming systems, and we lost the nutrition. So that apple is what we eat now. It's not going to provide all the nutrition what used to be in the past. So it's very carefully to look at it, our food systems, how it's behaving, and also the healthy things is what you harvest and what you eat. And then also like we are nearly 80% of the world population in the stress conditions, and one of the other chronic diseases and mental diseases, a lot of the societal things, there's a lot of things happening, and no one thought about how our food is impacting that. And just looking into the few what's called feel good hormones, the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin is all linked to the food we consume, and how you digest that links to all the stress, the conditions we can eliminate. And this brings up our gardening and food systems, and also nutrition density, as I talked a while ago. And loss of the nutrition happens when you harvest in the conventional systems. And basically, we are not adding the lot of this what's called living soil component. And secondly, when the harvest, California did quite a study on this number of the vegetable. I'm just giving the quote of the spinach. The 90% the spinach nutrition lost within 24 hours if you grow in that kind of systems. So this is applied to everywhere. So that in proverb in Canada say that the kasa tinnu, the tusu tinnu, the less. That means like better to eat less but good food rather than the too much of the junk food. And this is why you always feel the hungry, right? So if you're not eating a very vital food, and that's always we keep hungry. And also the food chain and loss of the nutrition in the pathway, so that what you grow in the local systems and in the organic systems, and how they reach the plate, and so much of the loss is happening that. It's not only that, but also the processing and the input used that leads to a lot of the loss of the food nutrition. And also like the waste. So who wastes the most of the food? It's urban people, it's consumers, because of they not really understood that how the food is came together. If something in the production, for example, harvesting some grain, the spill on the farm, I won't mind that, because the birds will eat and it's supplied back to the nature, and animals can eat. But the biggest problem is that in the distributions and the storage losses. But the worst is in the consumer. The food waste on our table after cooking and spoiling all the nutrition, then going to the landfill. And that's where the nutrition is going to impact. And I always call that the belly full hungry cells, because we eat the junk food and we feel like the belly is full, but the cells in our body, they're not getting the vital nutrition. This is where critical for the having a nutritious food is very important. And often we call it a brain fog. and food-related brain fog after meals, you feel lethargic. You're not able to think anything. That's because of the eating the wrong food. But the same replaced by the vital and organic food, and you feel so energetic. Food is the fuel. When you eat, you should be energetic, not lethargic. So this is where the crux of all the systems, the bring to the vital systems. You can grow food everywhere. We have enough land to produce the food, the feed the even 20 billion people. But still, we are struggling with just feeding the about 7.5 billion and expecting that the world population will be reach the 10 billion. And but it switch to all this the making use of all this empty space and fallow conditions, and they bring back the lost diversity. And I think this is where we should be moving towards, and not just like we are still food and few food items because that fit into the chemical-based farming system, but rather than also look into the diversity, like CGIR and natural systems and NBPGR, they are huge amount of the germplasm. And just to give you an example of in my backyard garden, I grow 633 types of tomatoes, and all flower, all colors, and all this the different the way we can eat them, cook them, process them, and this we lost completely. We lost huge amount of the diversity in our systems in the last 30, 40 years. That's showing that one amount of the loss happened. And when we look into the present systems, what is healthy food? We look into these few things like the capsicum, cucumber, and this cabbage, cauliflower, and a few things. That's it. But just go back to the real systems, and we forgotten so many things. We even treated them as weeds. If I just walk into some organic the agriculture farms, I see nearly about 10 to 15 types of the weeds. It's edible, but we treat them as weeds. We're using a lot of herbicides. Using the herbicides, we killed most of the diversity in our farming systems. When I was a kid and we walk in the field in the spring and the monsoon, we get so much of the vegetables, just pick them and bring them, cook them, eat. But now if you walk into all this chemical-based farming system, because of too much of the herbicides and fertilizer, we wipe out most of that wild. Nearly 4,000 species of identified plant species, and half of them are edible, and 6,000 are to be used as a quite viable agricultural production systems. Out of that, if I look into all the major food systems, the world is 150 crops, but unfortunately, only 3 crops dominate the food system. That's wheat, rice, and maize, but everything is forgotten. So this is where I called what we eat now is mostly the sterile food. There's no nutrition. And it's very well known that the diversity is dwindling rapidly. We decline so much. In Uttarakhand alone, where Dr. Grewal Saab is, he lived there, he knows all the systems very well, and he started the movement of organic farm much before he thought about the organic food systems. And thanks to his initiative and all things, I just look into the Rajma because of I studied my PhD in Dehradun and in Institute of Remote Sensing and doing the national border state mapping. And I come across when I go to his areas, and so much of the diversity we live with doing this project transactions in the area of Himachal, Uttarakhand, and we lived with a lot of the local village people. Every house has a different types of the rajma they used to cook, and the rajma you eat in the pahari, it's completely different than what you eat in the plains. And this is where with so much of diversity of the food system. That Uttarakhand alone have more than 50 types of the rajmas. Think about all our the 350 types of the what's called the dominant the pulse varieties in India. We completely forgotten that. We are just countable 10 to 15 pulses that are also completely grown on the systems. So there's no much of the nutrition. And not just only that. And we always think that, okay, you're vegetarian. When I was in America, so people, everyone come, you're vegetarian, where do you get protein? And I was surprised, like, I was billions of people living with vegetarian diet. I just looking into the recent research by the Walter Will is the chair of this Meat Lancet Commissions, and he compared studies showing that ratio between the polyunsaturated fat to the saturated fat and what is called the good protein sources is the lentils, is the tofu and almonds and all the vegetarian food much higher than the meat. It's very, very misled by our systems. We're completely lost in the what's called divergence to the failed food. And this is what I'm about. If you go to the market, you get hardly a few types of the vegetables now. And in 30, 40 years, we lost nearly 80% of our diet diversity. Nearly, this is where the crux of all the climate change talk about, number of other, looking at the food we eat, it has a huge impact on the entire system. And we lost some diversity we need to bring back. The only way we can bring back the lost diversity is organic way to create, natural way to cultivate, bring the permaculture, the food system, what's called production follows functions back to the system. This is where I just simply call it a multi-layer garden. And of course, in India, it's not new at all. It's how our ancient system of farming always the best with the multi-layers in the system. We have trees, we have different crops, creepers, livestock, all that together used to grow the food. And livestock in India, we treated them as not just a milk or meat, but we treated them as one of the most vital recycler. So the livestock, we put them as a residue recycler. When you put in the crop residue, within 24 hours with the best compost they can produce, but no system can produce that fast any compost. And this is where the home composting and enriching this one, teaching a lot of urban elites that how much the food they can the waste, and they can turn into the vital organic compost and reduce the impact on the system. And this is also linked to moral aspect as well. And multi-layer garden, I'm talking about why it's so important during lockdown. Nearly over 4,800 people across the world, around nearly 65 countries, they followed this approach I designed during the beginning of the year, so that people can grow at least 8 square feet. You can grow 15 types of organic vegetable. And so much we can grow all the uniqueness of the landscape in the space, and how you can transfer that into the mainstream farming. This is where we have so much the potential, tech is there, diversity is there, people movement is happening, and there's demand for that kind of the food. We have to create what is called awareness about the food, because no one will eat raw food. No one even farmers not want to spray chemicals. The problem is that our consumers. So that if the consumer goes to supermarket, it's a small hole in the brinjal, the spinach, and all that, and they reject it. They won't take it. And this is where we need to bring the awareness. The organic food often is serving something to nature, and always there is some few pests and insects that eat little bit of the food. That's okay. When insect eat your vegetable and fruits, that means it's good for you. If none of insect touch your food, means basically it's not good for you. That is the simple logic we need to bring the transformation to the people. Think about the food, and this is where we need a the mainstream farming. The monocropping system is there. Growing the rice or wheat are the only one system. We need to bring the rotation. We bring the more crop diversity in the mainstream. But you need to bring that. We need to have this kind of organic movement. Teach the people why organic food is vital for the nutrition, health, and wellness. And this is all linked to each other. Often we forget that. And the family farming, because still India is still 80% of the family farming. The smallholders produce the most of the world food, and most of the industrial agriculture food go to the animal feed. But real vital food comes from it is coming from the smallholders. And how best we enrich their lives, how best we can make their life is beautiful, and eating the organic foods. That one, there is a demand is there, and obviously farmers will produce the good food. But you have to create the demand, and also the stable, the viable. Why organic is expensive? It shouldn't be expensive, because we are reducing inputs, because there's no subsidies for anything. Because of when you're subsidizing the conventional food system heavily, and obviously they are cheaper. When in America, it's very interesting. The thing happened with me. When I went to the market, and the capsicum that costed more than the meat. One capsicum is equal to 1 pound of the meat. I didn't realize how it's possible. It took me nearly about 6 months to dig out why this conventional food system is so heavy. It is highly subsidized. And when we bring so much of the food in the conventional system, no one asks for certifications. But when you produce the organic, we need the certification. Of course, we need the certification, because of a lot of people mislead. They bring the wrong food into the justify this organic. But what is required? The movement is required. And it's becoming go back over 50, 60 years back, there was no chemical. before the World War II, there was everything is organic, everything is the manure based, everything is like a recycle economy and recycle food production systems, and there was no question at all. So when Sir Albert Howard went to India and survey everything, he come back to report to the British that India is such a wonderful self-sustainable system. You have such a wonderful combination of the crops, livestock, people, everything they link together. It's not required any the intervention. This is where they started breaking the system, and we have to build it back and the organic movement. And this is where we need to bring the more support for that, and policy level change is required, and enrich the life of the people through this way. That's where I see the health. We are too much concerned about building too many hospitals and too many the pharmaceutical industry. They are growing at the rate of nearly what you call the 600 times growth. And but is that happening at the agriculture movement? And do we have enough of the resources and the support we are getting for the organic movement? It's not there, but at least I'm happy that recently this big movement is happening that, and not only in India but throughout the world. But India should lead because of when it comes to the agriculture, I always tell that we should be teaching the world because we know how the agriculture we produce. When farmers, when not read and ask them how to grow the food, absolutely perfect way to grow the food. But we need to transfer that into the every food systems. And this is where I say the future food systems and planetary health is require a paradigm shift towards the healthy diets. And working to all the literature and everything, currently we're eating less than the 10% of the fruits and vegetables throughout the world. Of course, in India, we're eating more compared to the West. But what is required now is by 2030, and our food plate should have at least 30% of the content should have the fresh fruits, vegetable. That is also must be from the a chemical free. And if you do that one, we are already solved the 50% of the world the problem. If you take every UNS disease, we can fix with that. And by 2050, if we reach by our plate, is what the Lancet recommendation that the healthy diet for the healthy people, healthy planet, we should have at least 50% of our plate. Our meal should have the fresh fruits, vegetables, and nuts. And the 50% whatever doesn't matter. But that if we reach that level, we solved most of the world the problems at the moment. So it is really organic opportunity for the future prospect. Agriculture is still what you call the largest user of water resources, fresh water resources, but it's also the strongest lever lift all the problems we have now. Yeah, everything is linked to the healthy food. It's the key for the real transformations we need. And this is where I call the diet diversity, the link to the gut biome, health, wellness, and everything thereafter. So what makes this organic movement of the world population shift to the 30% of fruits and vegetables as their daily diet by 2030? I think this is the moment we should be catching the food revolutions we need, and we have to bring that what we call production follows functions, and let's leverage the technology and local intelligence and demand is created demand. Recently, I'm reading a report, and the India exporting the organic food increased by 23% this year as compared to the same month the last year. That clearly shows that this is the big opportunities. What we can grow, have so much the wide climatic conditions and so much diversity, and we can grow because of what's called geographic reason. If you grow food in the particular regions where this is there, it has a high nutritional value. So there's a huge future is there, and where manpower is enough, there is enough people to do that one. This is the only way we can make use of that, because the future is better and healthy for everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I think it's 25 minutes, and if any questions, I'm happy to take and over to the organizers. Swati, to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Am I audible?
Hello.
Yes, sir. So
Yes,
we
I
have
can hear
few
you.
questions. First of all, I would like to say that it was a really interesting session. Um, I have few questions. I would like to read it for you. Yes.
Please.
Sir, as you were talking about sustainable living, so there's one question. Use of biofertilizers and biopesticides requires awareness and willingness on the part of the farming community. Knowledge about the availability and usefulness of supplementary nutrients to enrich the soil is also vital to increase the productivity. But making them aware of such solution is itself a big challenge. So how do we deal with it?
I think certainly I agree with that. We need to have this required the different level is the like a mass campaign to bring awareness one thing and build the consumers. When the consumer are aware of that, is what food they're eating is not good and what food is good for them, and that's where the demand is created. When demand is there, and there's the production follows the functions. So that we have to create a demand. We have to bring this awareness. So when people start growing, like what I started is called the urban movement, and if delight people, who's the one who wastes the food and who do not know that what real food it is. If they switch to the organic food, when they eat organic tomato themselves and they compare to the conventional system, they feel the difference in the food. And this is required when the tongue know the reality, and I'm sure like the word will
Sir,
spread. This is what I think that
so you
it's
can
kind of
close your
important.
presentation so that we can see you talking on screen. We'll be able to see you. Am I audible to you, sir? Hello? I think there's an issue with Mr. Biradar's internet connectivity. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as I said that you are free to ask any questions if you have any questions regarding the topic which Mr. Brother was talking about, Dr. Brother was talking about. You're absolutely free to ask any questions. There's a discussion window on the right side of your laptop screen. So you can go to the discussion window and you can put your question there. So, ladies and gentlemen, as so many people said that there was a problem with the little internet connectivity, so I'll request Dr. Brother to upload his PPT in the handout section so you all can have a look at it. And if you need to ask any questions, you can interact with him in the VIP area or the launch area. In the meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take a moment to leave so that we can move further for the next session, and I request all of you to please join the next session as soon as possible.
I'm live now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. You are live now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Last time also, and I am hearing you, but saying that I'm not hearing you. So maybe something problem in the system. Okay, so can you hear me now? Sorry for
Yes,
that. Yeah.
perfectly. Yes.
So the questions, we still have time to take some questions, or there's a we want to move to
Yes, sir, sure, sure. We can take some questions.
sure.
Yeah. So, shall I move forward with the next question, or you wanted to continue speaking about the last one?
I think so. That's what they explained. Like you are talking about this, the biofertilizers and their the demand, and certainly because of the many farmers, they would like to change to this one. This awareness is happening, but they're not aware that where is available, and often this is required to create the awareness that a lot of this the media and social media, all the things to spread the word that who is supplies there available and make it affordable. Often questions come to me that one, sir, is that they are a biofertilizer, but they are too expensive. They cannot affordable. So that you have to build a system that is affordable to the farmers, and then that also shouldn't be like under the burden on the farmers. We have to bring that most affordable system back. And there are people who wanted to switch over because many farmers, I talk to them, and they grow the food for themselves without chemical free because of this market demand. They want no holes and not beaten by the insect anything. That's why they spray all these things. But there is awareness is there. Certainly, none of the farmers want to use the chemicals. They will switch back to the what we need. I think this is where I think this kind of the big the movement should be organized and bring the awareness and state level and a lot of the organic movements. You can educate not only the sending the products, but they have to educate the consumers and producer both. I think this is where we can start.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I have another question. If you, yeah, allow me to. Sir, as you talk about health and wellness, so in today's time, we are all in a very fast-moving world. So we are very habitual of, fast food. We are very habitual of, instant product, easy solutions. Like, as you said, that organic food is more of, energy, good source of
Yeah.
energy. So in our life, we prefer a Red Bull over a, organic solution, organic, yeah. So I think people are very habitual of that easy solution. So how do we deal with it? Even if they're aware that it is not the best thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm certainly agree with your point on that. And our world is driven by the advertisement. When the
Yeah.
people look at these things very easy and all the things, like when I'm talking with the software engineers a month ago with all these software geeks, and they're telling that when talk about the gut biome, none of them are aware of. They are very smart in developing software, all the things, but when talk about the food, none of them are unaware of that, how the food diversity is required, their gut biome, and that's why they just grab something in the Red Bull or a Coke and some pizza burger, that's
Mm,
ready. So this is where
mm.
when they are aware, then they immediately stop there to pick that they know this. And also like the why we need a coke, the coffee and coke after the what we eat the food, right? Because of when you eat this junk food, you become lethargy. You have to wake up. We need a caffeine. That's why all the
Yes.
Western food supplied the coke and coffee after that. But if you eat a healthy food, we shouldn't be drinking that. Our logical system clearly tell that we not require the carbon dioxide, but we mix the carbon dioxide in the water, then we drink them. So this unethical system to the body. Body struggles all the times to eliminate the chemicals. This is where when we reach the 40, 50 years, we all these joint pains and a number of things happening. So much of the our food system is spoiling. And even when I go to the village side, the people they work so hard, but I see this big belly on them. How can it possible? This clearly indicates that the food that they're eating it's not a good food, and this is where
Yes.
we
Yes.
changes. And now this is happening because of when I was in America, I was like first time 15 years ago, hardly find any vegetarian restaurant. But a year ago, I went there, but a lot of the vegetarian restaurants they come up, and this is
Mm.
where all their the junk food system moving towards us. Then now you can find the McDonald's in the most remote villages in India, and Coke you
Mm.
can find everywhere. When you're hiking into Himalayas, we can find the Coke bottle there, but not the
Yeah.
sugarcane juice. So this is where
Mm-hmm.
we need to bring back the forgotten systems. We are exporting the Punjab is exporting the sugarcane juice and the coconut, the Kerala coconut thing to the Canada. Why can't our people bring that one through this kind of awareness? Yeah? So certainly need awareness. People go for the easy solutions. Why not the food products, vital food products, organic products? Bring the same thing like pizza, burger, and Coke. Why can't you replace that with healthy food system? This is where we need to do.
Yes, so I hope as a system, we all, take our bit efforts to move and choose organic over easy solutions. Thank you so much, Dr. Chandrasekhar Brother. It was really, really nice to hear you, sir. It was a very informative session, and it's an honor that you were a part of today's panel. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for the all the organizers and the elite people. Really, they put their effort, like last 20, 30 years efforts to bring this movement. And all the best. I hope that this movement is across India, and hope the people start looking towards organic food as their vital nutrition. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.